Hello and welcome. I'll give you a moment to settle in and to find the video, and I'm just gonna set up as well. So if you're joining me live today, welcome. If you're watching the recording, welcome as well. So take a moment to settle in. As everything, we want to do everything in a nervous system friendly way, so meaning to settle a little bit, not to rush from one thing to another. So really, have a drink there, have a little bit of time to settle in. Hopefully you have a little bit of time to do this to watch in a more relaxed way. So allow yourself some time to arrive if you're joining live or later. So welcome to this mini training on nervous system friendly goal setting and planning for this new year. I'm really excited to share this with you. A little bit about myself. If you don't know me yet, I'm Fabi. I'm a trained practitioner. I'm a trained yoga teacher, but I work now as a virtual assistant and systems expert. But I bring my experience as a yoga teacher and all my experience from previously work around trauma-informed work into this work. And my understanding of running your own business and knowing how stressful it can be. So with that, with all of kind of different tools and experiences, I support other female practitioners and business owners to run their own business, but with more ease, because I know how overwhelming things can get. So I support other female practitioners through putting the right systems into place, and that kind of tech side of your business that can cause overwhelm. So there's a lot of tech support systems in place to ease the overwhelm, as well as coaching to work in a more sustainable way. So today I wanted to talk about goal setting, because it's that time of year where we talk about goals, where we set our goals for the year. And I know a couple of years ago I've kind of made that decision for myself that I want to work in a more nervous system friendly way. And usually that's not a once done and dusted process. There's a lot of reviewing and coming back to it and seeing what works for you, understanding ourselves better. But before that, it came to a point for me when running my own business, being self-employed, that I knew something needed to change in order to create a sustainable business. I was really, especially when it comes to goal setting, goal planning, and I know I'm not alone with that, over planning a lot, trying to do everything at once. It's that urgency of doing everything straight away, all the great ideas that we have, which isn't surprising because we want to bring them out there. But often that leads to being overwhelmed and then procrastinating for weeks and then not doing anything. And without realizing it, I was going through a burnout cycle, constantly feeling up and down, feeling guilty for not working hard enough. And I know a lot of people that feel similar. And it's not surprising because we get so much pressure from the outside world of how much we should be achieving, listening to other coaches and all the things we think we should be doing, and it's very easy to get distracted by them and to listen to that outside advice instead of listening to what's really working for ourselves and listening to ourselves a little bit more and what works for us, for our personal own nervous system, because we'll work differently as well. But saying that, I was comparing myself a lot to other business owners, and thinking, if they can do everything, then surely I should be able to as well. But I come back to that as well later, because it's kind of one of my points that I want to share with you today as well. It really took me a while to accept that I had to approach work a little bit differently, especially as I'm more of a sensitive person. And I know a lot of people I work with are also more sensitive, and the kind of push strategies, which are usually very masculine, don't necessarily work for you. and the way I was working wasn't sustainable. So, I knew I needed to change something. And a big part of that is how I set goals, how I plan, how I work on a day-to-day basis. And again, as I said, it's a very ongoing process, of a constant kind of reviewing what's going on for you, what might need changing, what's working, what isn't working. But all of it, for me, starts with understanding your nervous system better and knowing how you work best. And that works when we connect to our needs better. I have a little free kind of daily planner I can share below. It's a really great way of kind of connecting with your needs on a daily basis and just noticing, what you need in the moment and how you can plan around it a little bit better. So I invite you to just, if you're interested, if you're curious, to just check that out. Just a little tool to, help you plan on a daily basis a little bit better on your nervous system, your own needs. And regarding the nervous system, understanding our nervous system better, I think it's really important because it allows us to support ourselves better. The better we understand ourselves, our needs, and how we work, the better you can support yourself. And it's something I'll be going into deeper in my upcoming goal setting workshop, where we, dive much deeper into this, where you have space to explore and to learn a little bit more about your nervous system as well. But from this process for me, of learning to change the way I work and how I plan, how I set goals, I want to share 5 insights that helped me to work in a more connected and sustainable way. They're all very interlinked. I think it's never like a clear this and this point, but they're all kind of connected. But I think that they can all help you to work in a different way, so we can avoid heading towards burnout, avoid going through burnout cycles, and avoid coming to that point where we don't enjoy our work more, but instead actually work with more ease and connection again. So my first point I want to share is really to start listening to your body more. I was always a huge fan of setting goals, of planning, and I get slightly obsessed with planning, get carried away, and it's really, really helpful in giving us a direction as well as milestones, that we can work towards, that we can celebrate in our business. But very often we set these goals just from a mental perspective, instead of really checking in what our body says, because our body gives us a lot of feedback of what's possible, if we're experiencing overwhelm, how we're doing. So really starting to connect to that more. So on a mental, on a brain level, we might think, yeah, sure, I can handle those 5-10 projects all at once. I can start a new course, I can start a new project, I can start a new workshop all at once. But actually, if we slow down a little bit, checking in, what does your body say? What does your body tell you? If you think about it, if you think, you plan it all in, and then you kind of notice, does I feel a little bit tense? Do I feel a little bit anxious? Or does the body, does the stomach start to shrink together? You get that weird feeling. Do your shoulders go tighter? And then maybe checking in a little bit. What is this about? Is this because is there maybe a part of you that's scared, that's it's something new that you haven't done before, which is completely normal to experience that? Or is there maybe a part that thinks, this is actually too much? If I'm being really realistic, this is too much. I personally I used to ignore these signs, and it's like, no, I've just gotta do it because my mind wants to do it. We get very stubborn, because again, on a mind level, we think, well, I should be able to do this, other people do it. But usually if we actually start to listen to these signs, to this subtle guidance, we can notice much sooner, okay, actually this feels a bit too much. And then we can step back, and then we can reevaluate what seems possible, what seems right, what feels better. Because I know the alternative is usually, and it's not about, not having you know, it's pushing a little bit out of their comfort zone, but being more intuitive, you know, being more connected to how your body responds, being more aware of what's going on for you as well. Because otherwise and that was my experience as well, what often happens is that we end up overwhelmed. Our nervous system is too stretched. We're overwhelmed, we go into freeze, we procrastinate, we withdraw. And then what often happened to me was that I started feeling guilty for not achieving my goals. But actually, if I checked in before, I knew that it wasn't what was available right now. And that's okay. So we can just take things a little bit slower. So instead, I really invite you to consider your bodily response when you set your goals. And that might sound a little strange, you know, if you're not used to that. But actually, as I said, you know, the more we listen to our body, the more we allow ourselves to slow down, we can work in a much more connected and aligned way. And really noticing, you know, what feels right. When does your body feel at ease? You know, when you set your goals, does your body feel at ease or does it feel tense? And then we can change the way we're working much more. So again, all the points are a little bit interlinked, but it brings me to the next point, which is really checking in, what is your capacity like? And again, that's something I encourage you to do in the free planner, because we often have a tendency to overplan, to overcommit. You know, we all think we can achieve more than probably possible in a day or in a week or months and year. And that can quickly lead to burnout. We have really high expectations. Again, from that mind level, you know, it all seems doable. You know, to work, take on yet another project, take another thing on. And sure, we can fill that half hour that I have in between meetings with more things to do. But often in reality, and yes, maybe that's possible for a few days, even for a few weeks, even for a few months, but it's usually not sustainable. And we end up feeling drained and exhausted, and sometimes even resentful, because, I mean, a big part of that is also setting boundaries. So when planning your goals and projects for the month or the week, I would really like to invite you to check in with yourself. Again, that bodily response, but also your capacity. What do you really have capacity for? What do you have capacity to work on? And projects usually take longer than we think they do. Especially when it comes up to setting new things, new tech, new systems, you know, allow yourself more time. And then focus on what's most important, what will make the biggest difference. But also consider other commitments, because you know, it's not just work, you have other things going on in your life. So really considering other commitments, but also your headspace, where you're at, what's your headspace like at the moment? What is your energy like? What is the energy levels? You know, have you been really tired lately? And a lot of that has to do as well with like seasons. How do you work in winter and spring, summer? You know, really checking in, how do you work best? What is your capacity like? You know, especially in winter, you might prefer to sleep a little bit longer, or maybe working in the evenings doesn't work that well for you because it's already dark. So then being realistic, well, maybe it doesn't work out filling my whole day with loads of stuff. But also considering your overall health, of course, you know, how are you doing at the moment? Have you been sick? Or, you know, is there still something you're recovering from? And with planning as well, I think we have a tendency to plan for our best days. So maybe also consider plan for the days when you're not feeling your best. You know, we don't always have to shove our day full with, you know, every second needs to be full. So allowing a little bit of space. Plan for the days you're not feeling your best, when things don't go as planned, because they usually don't, and things take up more space. So have a little bit of buffer time in between. And allow yourself enough time, space and breaks. Really take care of yourself. I think that's really important, because we can treat ourselves like we're machines and robots and, you know, needing to do everything. But, you know, you have needs. You need to stop, you need to pause, and really being more gentle with yourself. You know, kind of lowering a little bit our expectations. And it's not, you know, about doing nothing all of a sudden, but actually being gentler, planning in less, but being more focused, because that's the thing. If we have too many things going on, our nervous system's scattered, and we can't really focus at all. We feel drained and tired. But actually, if you do a little bit less, but more focused, you have much more energy and things are more sustainable. And then coming to my next little insight I wanted to share is really considering where you're at in your business. And that's maybe not directly to the planning and goal setting, but I think it's something to consider, because it's very easy to compare ourselves to other practitioners or mentors, coaches, or people that you work with or that support you. Seeing other coaches out in the world, in the online world, and we end up setting goals that match theirs because we see where they are, and we want to achieve the same thing, which is fair enough, and we will get there. But often I think we forget that we tend to be at different stages, and I did that a lot. So when starting out in your business, you will have different goals than somebody who's been in business for 10 years. And you will also achieve different things, but you get to that stage eventually. But you are in different stages, and you want to achieve as much as they are, but if they can, surely you can, and you will. But we end up setting these expectations for ourselves in our business that don't match where we're at right now. As I said, we get there over time, but right now we're in a different stage. So again, what we often don't consider is that, other people that we compare ourselves are at different stages in their business. And they've been doing it for a longer time. They have support so they can, do more things because they have a team around them a lot of the time. And I think that's also something we forget. We think they're achieving so much and doing so much, but they've been doing it for a really long time. And they have a whole team of support around them, which completely changes things as well. So instead of comparing yourself to others, I'd like to invite you again to embrace where you're at in your business, where you're at right now, and move from that space. So what are some achievable goals for your current business, and what help you take that next step right now where you're at? What's the next step for you, the small next step that you can achieve? So really dialing back, really taking a step back. Which brings me to another little insight, and again, it's not directly maybe related to goal setting, but something to consider. Get support when you need it, because I know it can feel, when you run your own business online, that you have to do everything yourself, and sometimes it can feel wrong or even unsafe to ask for support. It can feel like a luxury, but when growing your business, it often comes to a point where you can either can't do it all by yourself anymore because it's just too much, there's too much going on, or maybe certain aspects of your business such as tech, or there's maybe strategy or something that's holding you back. So when planning your goals, I really like to invite you to consider, do I need support with anything? So what is holding me back right now? What would make things easier? And what would make me what would help me move forward? But often, again, it's kind of rechecking in with the body. There's maybe this one goal you've been trying to work on for ages, but nothing's really happened. Really consider, what is that obstacle, what's holding you back, and what might be helpful. Maybe it's just asking somebody. Maybe it's just one simple question that could solve your problem, but maybe it's actually hiring somebody that can support you. There's so many different ways, or maybe it's just being in a different community that can support you. So what would help you move forward? And also considering what are your strengths, really focusing on your own strengths, and what isn't your strength and what takes up a lot of your time, that you maybe need support with. Maybe somebody who can deal with that better, and you can focus on what's really important. So definitely something to consider when setting your goals, to really know what is holding you back, what would help you move forward, and what would help you make things easier. And then lastly, give yourself more time. And again, it interlinks with all the other bits that we talked about. You don't need to achieve all your goals right now. And I know it can feel like that. I know we want to do everything right away. But when planning your goals and your projects, we often underestimate how long things will take, as I said before. Especially when we set up new tech system platforms in our business, when you set up a whole new project, when you plan out, content for a new project. So to work in a more nervous system friendly way, I really invite you to give yourself more time and space. When we try to do everything at once, we often don't move forward at all, because you're working on multiple things at the same time. You're shoving everything into 1 week, what you would actually need the whole month for. But when we slow down, we can achieve more with ease. And then it can help to, break down your goals into action steps to achieve that goal. And then you can check back in with your capacity and your body. You're, bringing all those other aspects together. You set your goals and then checking back in. What is my capacity like here? What else do I actually have on this month? Is this achievable? Do I have time? How much time do I have realistically during the week to work on this project? So maybe it's 1 hour, maybe it's 2 hours, but maybe it's just half an hour, and then it might just take a little bit longer, but that's okay, because you're doing it in a more sustainable way. And really being gentle with yourself as well. I know we can put so much pressure on ourselves, but being a little bit gentler with yourself and really checking in what's realistically achievable, then just moving one step at a time. Instead of trying to jump all the way ahead, one step at a time, slowly taking your time. So this is starting to, come to an end. I hope you found those 5 little insights helpful for your goal planning for 2024. I would love to know what's your biggest takeaways. And also, what are you going to do differently when it comes to, setting your goals and planning your projects this year? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments. And also, a little kind of extra practice that can be really helpful. I really love doing it. We'll be doing it a little bit more time in my upcoming goal setting workshop. Is a practice called Future You. So I invite you to just, when you have a little bit of time, just take some time to write down, where do you see yourself in 6 months or a year? How do you want to work? How do you want to feel about your work? How does your day look? How does your week, your month look like? How do you want to feel about it? That can give us really great direction of where you're heading, especially in terms of, we set kind of the business goals, or how much income you want to have, which is all important, but also having that part of how do you want to feel, how do you want to spend your day, how do you want to feel about your day, and that can give us a good indication, and then we can kind of go backwards and just figure out which steps do I need to take to get there, and to start feeling that way. And it's something we do as well. I work on together in my coaching, in my one-to-one coaching. So if that's something you're interested in, just let me know in the comments or message me, and I can share some more info around that. Because it can make a huge difference to the way that we work, that we support ourselves to really be more aware of our own nervous system. But as I said, I love to hear your biggest insights from today's mini training around nervous system friendly goal setting and planning. As I mentioned, I have a workshop coming up on the 8th of February, goal setting and planning workshop. So if you'd like to join me for that, you can find out more by, I'll put the link in the comment, find out a little bit more about it. It's a live workshop where we go much deeper into this, where you can explore much more, and I guide you through a little process to really set your goals in a nervous system friendly way for 2024. But it's it's a practice that you can repeat anytime, not just for this year. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon again in another training. Take care.